In the last 5 years of any group of people, and it is time that Americans stood up for what was right instead of what was convenient and what paid, and you did that. You did that. So I hope you're all going to enjoy tomorrow, because that is what happens when ordinary people stand up and speak for what they believe is right. You did that, and keep it up. Now, however, we are not done yet. This is great. It's a great weekend, a great 4 days, and it's really exciting, and Washington's in gridlock and everybody's excited. This is not a celebration just about a victory. This is a celebration about a beginning of real change in America. And as hard as you all have worked in the last 5 or 6 years to make sure this happened, as hard as you've worked, the work is just beginning. Because it is much easier for somebody to come to Washington and be changed than it is to come and change Washington. And we are going to change Washington. We set out to do that, and we are going to continue to change Washington. We need your help. Barack Obama's health plan, frankly, is the best health care plan I've seen. Not because it's perfect or it all fits together very nicely or academically, because it can pass, and because individual Americans will make their own choice about what kind of a health care system they want as they sign up. The health insurance industry right now, as we speak, is making sure that they do everything they can to kill the option of a public entity in healthcare, and you have to stop them from doing it. You can't put it all on Barack Obama. We have to support this healthcare plan and make sure that we stop the insurance companies from screwing up Barack Obama's healthcare plan. You're going to have a big fight over the public entity, and if the public entity isn't in the healthcare plan, all we've got is a little insurance reform, not real change, and we came for real change in America. We need real education reform in America. You don't fix schools by sending broken children from broken families to broken schools. If you want real education reform, you've got to do what Jeffrey Canada is doing in the Harlem Children's Zone and start out by working with families when women become pregnant. And then from 0 to 3, working hard to make sure those kids arrive at school ready to learn. You can't put it on the school system. You've got to put it on us and make families stronger, and we can do that. But Washington doesn't want to do that. It's easier to put money into schools and hope they get better. Let's take the blame off the schools and start looking at what we can do to make families stronger, to be the kind of families they want to do. If we do that, then the schools can work again. Let's not blame teachers and schools for everything. Let us help families become strong enough to make sure their kids arrive in the worst neighborhoods in America just as ready to learn as kids here in Arlington. We can do that. That is real change in Washington.
Howard Dean, Rock of the House.
There are a lot of things that need to be done, and you know what all of them are. We need a real attack on global warming, a real attack on climate change. In order to do that, we have to invest money in renewable energy and transmission lines to bring that renewable energy to our big cities. There will be people in this town who want to nibble around the edges. We need real attack on climate change. We need to stop global warming. We can do that, but we've got to support Barack Obama and not let the special interests get between him and us. This is our president. This is not the president of the special interest. This is our president. Now, we can go on like this for some time. We're not going to do it. But I do want to say a couple of things. Tomorrow, every election is always the most important election in your lifetime, right? For most of you in this room, this is the most important election in your lifetime. And I'll tell you why. First of all, on the night of November 4th in Grant Park, when I saw Barack Obama come out with Michelle and Malia and Sasha, I realized that in one night the people of America had undone 8 years of damage that George Bush inflicted on us by showing the rest of the world that we were the America that they thought we were, that we stood for idealism, that we really could change, and that we were willing to do what no other country was to do, which is to elect an African American as President of the United States of America. That we did that in this country. That is incredibly important because it means so much to our country, but there is something that is more important. What is more important is that Barack Obama is the first president of a new generation of Americans. Just as John F. Kennedy brought my generation into politics, Barack Obama has brought your generation into politics. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of your generation putting their hands on the levers of power in America. For the first time in my lifetime, more people voted who were under 35 than voted who were over 65. This really is your time. This is your time. Now, there are a lot of people here who may have heard this, because I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. What do you think this is, church? This is true. My generation changed a lot of things. And your generation is different. They want to change a lot of things. We got 1 million people in the mall. You got 1 million emails and shut down Congress's email system for 3 days. So there's a lot of differences here. But you have an obligation to learn from, not just from the things we did right, you have an obligation to learn from the things we did wrong. Let me tell you the biggest mistake of our generation. Well, that was not our generation, I hope. That was the one between yours and mine, the lost generation of the 40s and 50s. John Roberts is a member. How could a smart guy that went to Harvard Law School, oh, never mind. Here's the mistake that I don't want you to make that we made. After we stopped the Vietnam War, after we made it possible for all Americans to vote, not just some Americans, after we stood up for women who didn't have the right to control what went on in their own personal lives, after we changed a lot of things like that, after all that, we decided it was okay to sit back, to spend some time with our families and our careers. There's good things to spending time with your families and careers, but we put politics on the shelf. I don't believe George Bush and Dick Cheney ever would have been elected if we hadn't put politics on the shelf. Do not put politics on the shelf either. Being in politics is like going to church. You got to put a little in the plate every single week. Every single week. I don't expect you all to run for office. I don't expect you all to give money to every single campaign that comes along. Do not put politics on the shelf. You've got to stay involved. If you can't run for office or give somebody, then run for the school board or get yourself appointed to the planning commission. You've got to be a community organizer all the time. We are community organizers. That's what we do, and that's what politics is. I don't